Good to have you back on the channel. We've got the Electro-Voice RE320 today for a first look, and that's coming up next. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss another episode. Like, comment, and share this video. It really does help. Thanks Patreon supporters and everyone who visits DcSoundOp.com and anyone who uses the affiliate links in the description below when you're shopping for gear. I didn't plan to do a video today and just wanted to shoot something as I use this microphone here for the first time. In one channel I'm recording right now my typical microphone that you've been hearing on this channel for quite a while, and that's the Audio Technica ML, what the hell is it? So the microphone you've been hearing on the channel for a long time now has been the ES935ML from Audio Technica. It's a lectern microphone that I use for live events quite a bit. I've got a pair of them, and I travel with them a lot because they unscrew and basically collapse down to be really small, and I can take a pair in my luggage really easily. I've had them, so I've used them and never felt that it was really the top priority of things I needed to take the channel to the next level. There's always camera gear, lighting, and that kind of stuff, but I've kind of hit the end of the road of what I can get out of this mic and how happy I am with it. Being a condenser mic, it's very crispy, very sizzly, doesn't round off any of the imperfections in my voice at all. So we've moved over to the Electro-Voice RE320, which I listened long and hard to a bunch of different microphones. And of course, I've used a ton of these microphones in real broadcast situations over the years. The RE20, the SM7B, tons of other microphones that you find in broadcast studios that I've worked in and on stages and in work boxes. And the RE320 is kind of a nice microphone in that it fits into that world of the RE20, the SM7B, the large diaphragm dynamic microphones that give us a lot of the characteristics we want from a broadcast mic. Less proximity effect as you move a little bit back and forth around the microphone, as well as the presence that you need to be understood through less than ideal broadcast or web delivery services. Comparatively, this microphone goes for around $250, where the SM7B, you're looking at $399, I think, right now. Yeah, the SM7B is $399. And I don't think for what I use this type of microphone for, I could justify that additional $150 difference there. Especially when the SM7, oftentimes most people feel like for the level that they're recording dialogue at, they need an additional Cloudlifter or some sort of boost circuit to get enough gain out of the microphone for most consoles and interfaces and things like that, where the RE320 is a more modern design even than the RE20. There's a great video on Electro-Voice's channel about the differences in the design, and while it is using some more modern components and is not just a RE20 that's been updated or anything like that, the difference is they get a little more top-end clarity, and this microphone also doesn't need as much gain to be usable. So while it is less sensitive than my Audio Technica microphone here with the same gain applied at the interface, we'll see how that turns out. I have not listened to this side by side with the two. I'm just assuming that I'm going to like the results based on my history using this microphone in the past. So that's it for now. Just wanted to do a quick bit while I unbox this and used it for the first time, and then I'll use it a bit more and come back and give you my thoughts on whether this was the right purchase or even an improvement over what I already had. So I'll see you shortly. All right, well, I've been using the mic now for a couple of days and have been listening back to what I've recorded, and so far I'm pretty happy. You should know that I haven't adjusted any EQ or added compression to any of the mics on this video. All I've done is bring up the level so it's appropriate for YouTube. But I like the fullness I'm able to get out of this microphone without having so much of the background noise around me. Now, I honestly prefer to record everything if I could with these PDR recorders, and I still do record with the actual recorder quite a bit, but using an Omni Lav, which is what I have on these, or any type of lav, really in this type of untreated environment is just a real challenge. I've got a ton of background noise. This is a normal house type setting, and it's amazing how much of the outdoors and how much of the background noise you pick up in this type of microphone and how much work that can be just to edit around that without a whole bunch of weird jumps and cuts being audible. It's just much easier to not record that stuff in the first place. And generally, this area is just not very quiet. There's a playground full of squeaky swings and other noises, kids playing not too far outside, tons of birds. And on a typical day, there's just a lot of noise. And then in this room as well, there's a lot of fans and things making noise around me that, for the purposes of making videos about tech gear, it's just not really practical that I relocate everything to another room. This isn't a recording studio, so the idea is not to have an isolation booth type feel here where I'm recording. My goal is to be able to work on things and share them as I do and not have to set up a recording scenario every day just to get usable audio. So I'll record a few minutes with the lav for comparison in this video as well, and there's tons of other interviews and videos I've done with them that you've seen on the channel before. You can hear some of the background noise in the room here, as well as just how funky the room tone sounds generally for me talking into a lav in an untreated room. And, you know, on trade shows, I definitely deal with this a lot. I do a fair amount of EQ and try to notch out anything that's super offensive, or when we're recording something, we try to pay attention to the background noise at trade shows is terrible, especially it's a music trade show. So people are trying out instruments that often, even from the other side of a convention hall, cut right through. And also, I think this sound is just totally inappropriate for a podcast. I know a lot of folks out there don't agree with that. So with all that in mind, I was curious at how much of a difference there would be with this mic and a few of the different preamps that I have on hand. Luckily, we can use the Dante card in the wing and just patch into the alt channel with the other options. And I know which one I want to sound the best just because of the workflow that I use. Honestly, it would make my life a lot easier if one of these was my favorite. But we'll go through them one by one and see. Somebody's just messaged on the Discord. Quick message from Nathan Lively on the Discord. Hey, Nathan, I'll get back to you in just a second. So this mic, the RE320, is through the wing right now, local inputs, 40 dB of gain, no digital trim. So we'll use the alt input, and I've got the Neutrik D Pro here, which is an interface we've looked at before here on the channel, a Dante box, very cool, and I'll link that video below. We've got the Shure M8RX that is sitting over here as well, and that's another one we've looked at on the channel. Oh, I've just unclipped it, but this is a neat little box with 2 mic inputs and a little mixer built in. And then we've got the Behringer Flow 8, which is just a little desktop mixer, and normally I've been using this with its USB output as an interface, but to keep this all kind of going in the same direction, we'll use an Avio adapter and patch it into that same channel so we get the same signal flow all the way through. It might be worth mentioning for anyone that's curious that the signal flow that I'm using to record this video, I've got the camera sitting over there. I'm recording into a Windows PC with Studio One 5, and that is getting its audio from the wing as a USB audio interface. I'm not using Dante Virtual Sound Card or anything like that. Part of that's just because I'm getting to know the wing better, and I want to be able to patch it on the fly and work with it and really get to know what that's like. So I'm trying to use as many different tools as I can to get to know it faster. Dante's going into the card, patched to the channel. I've actually got that routed to a mix bus that goes into the computer. No plugins, no EQ, just the mic straight up. This is the RE320 through the local input on the wing, and I'll switch it now and we'll see what the next one sounds like. All right, so we've got the Neutrik D Pro here, and right now we're sitting right at 42 dB of gain on that, and on the console, I'm down a good ways. So I'm going to bring that up to where I was before. So that's 51 dB of gain on the Neutrik, and that looks much better on the channel. So we'll see how that performs compared to the lower setting. I don't have the high pass filter engaged or anything else. This is just straight up into the Neutrik D Pro. All right, we're on the Shure M8RX, and let me see what the gain is now. Okay, starting back at 39 dB, which is as close as I can get. This one's in 3 dB stepped increments, and both the Shure M8RX, there it is, I'm pointing at the control software, and the Neutrik D Pro have been featured on the channel before, and we've gone through all the details on those, so check those out. I'll link them down below. But this is the Here M8RX at 39 dB of gain. And again, I'm pretty low coming into the channel, so I'm going to bring that up. And I'm going to go all the way up to 51 because this is a really nice clean sounding pre, and that's quite a bit better on level. We'll be bringing it up again, I'm sure, in editing to get them to all match a little better. But yeah, 51 dB. Now the wing, the top on the input trim on the wing is 45 dB, and then you got to start applying digital gain, which is fine. I think more folks should experiment with that a little bit, get a safe level into the console, and then bring up the gain if you need to afterwards. And now we are into the, oh boy, it's stuck on something. Now we're into the Behringer Flow 8, and we're getting the audio into the wing using an Avio adapter. So 40 dB of gain there once more, but we're getting a lot more gain from the line level output to the Avio, so we're quite healthy on the level there going into the console. And I'm going to back down. So now the gain going into the Flow 8 is all the way up. Just curious to see how funky that sounds. I know a lot of folks have mentioned in the past that they really don't like to run their mic pre's all the way wide open. I tend to agree with that, but on this little one, we'll see what it's like, and then we'll go back to the wing, and I'm going to push that mic pre all the way open as well, and we'll compare, and then we'll add a little bit of digital gain too to see what the differences are. And we're back to the wing's local inputs here, and that's 40 dB. So I'm going to bring that all the way up to 45 on the input trim, and we'll see how that goes. All right, so we're wide open now on the wing, and we're still a little bit low on the input trim compared to where we've been and where I'd like to be on a digital console. Right now we're peaking. It looks like I'm peaking at -24 right now, and I'd like to be a little bit closer to the -12 mark. So I'm going to add some digital trim. Hey. All right, yes, we're peaking a lot closer to -12, and that's with 6.5 dB of trim, and I'm going to bring that up even a little bit more. So now we should be much closer. That's 45 dB all the way wide open on the wing and 8 dB of digital trim added. So we should be much closer to where we were level-wise on the Neutrik, the Here M8RX. And I'm going to go all the way up to 51 because this is a really nice clean sounding pre, and that's quite a bit better on level. We'll be bringing it up again, I'm sure, in editing. So it's 51 dB of gain on the Neutrik, and that looks much better on the channel. So we'll see how that performs. So I'm going to take a listen back now to all of these and stick them into the video here, and we'll come back and I'll give you my opinion, and then you can leave your opinions down below. So after all that, right now you're hearing the RE320 through the Here M8RX. I keep pointing at the control software, but the Here M8RX is right here. And this is just a really convenient unit because it has the headphone amp and little Dante mixer built in. And if you didn't watch the other video, basically it's got a 4-channel local mixer. So you get the 2 mic inputs plus the stereo line input on the back on these knobs. And then the larger, the outer rings on the knobs control 4 channels of Dante. I don't think there's a whole lot in the difference to my ear between the Here M8RX mic pre's and the Neutrik D Pro unit that we listened to. They were both very clear, very easy to understand, and very intelligible. Listening back here on good speakers, the Flow 8 to me sounded a little bit nasal in comparison to these two, especially when we pushed it. It really got funky sounding, but that wasn't a super fair comparison, and I will go back and do more videos in the future with that, and I'll use this mic and have the Flow as the USB interface, as opposed to coming out that left-right into the Avio adapter and all that. So there is plenty of gain on the Flow 8 on those pre's to get this mic plenty hot, and that was pretty cool. I think that would be a big question for a lot of people, that 60 dB of gain. I wouldn't go right up to the limit maybe, but you can get it up there and totally workable, totally usable. The wing's local input for me, again, listening here in comparison to this and the Neutrik, is just very dark, super usable, could definitely make it work. I've done a number of videos using that, and with a little bit of EQ, no problem at all for dialogue work. Just a little bit darker than these two. I think right out of the gates, the Here and the Neutrik just are a little bit more usable without any more intervention. So let me know what you think of the different options we listened to, and if you think it was a worthwhile change from the mic I was using before. In the next couple of videos, there'll definitely be some processing, EQ, and high-pass filter going on this mic, and I think it's just going to get better. I'm pretty pleased with it from what I'm hearing, and I'd be interested to know your thoughts. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment, and I will see you in the next one.